Today, the underpriced attention is Facebook Reels. Right this second, as we sit here right this second, scaled underpriced attention to market in America and many parts of the world sits on Facebook Reels. The amount of people talking about Facebook Reels is like 7.
Just to clarify, when you say Facebook Reels, you mean Instagram Reels?
I sure don't. I sent a company-wide email the other day, which I rarely do, but I'm like, I need everybody to get focused on Facebook Reels immediately. Literally half my company emailed me back. They're like, I don't even have Facebook because I have so many people under 26. And literally, it was quite enjoyable to reply back to them like, you know how you've been shitting on everyone for not knowing TikTok? Well, now they're gonna shit on you. And so, I think for me, what do I think about the next 10 years? I think it'd be stunning if we didn't have a decentralized social network at scale in 10 years. I think that's a elephant in the room that will be really interesting to see. I think with AI and deep fake and all the stuff that we're about to deal with, I think decentralized servers, Web3, is about to really start showing people its value, improving provenance. I think we're all very aware of people's cynicism and politics that come along with centralized social networks. So even with Blue Sky and what Jack's up to, I think it'd be shocking if in 10 years we don't have a decentralized social network that's successful. I'd be surprised if 2 or 3 more Snap or TikToks didn't come along. I think I view social networks kind of like I view very successful TV shows, like Seinfeld or SNL, which is having a long run. Like, there are gonna be platforms that come out that have 7, 10, 12-year runs, but then like nightlife, like a club or a restaurant can only stay so hot for so long because the next generation kind of wants their own place. So I think when I hear that question, I think over the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see another emerge because Gen Alpha is gonna need their spot and they're gonna make fun of TikTok the way the TikTok generation made fun of Instagram, the way the Instagram generation made fun of Facebook. So I think there'll be 2 to 3 other places, and in the first 24 to 48 months of that platform, there'll be an enormous opportunity for every person in this room, regardless of what they want to achieve. At that point, people here may want to run for office, raise capital for a nonprofit, start a new business, build a personal brand, whatever it may be. In that 24 to 48 months, there'll be an opportunity to outflank. And I think what continues to happen in my professional life, the Fortune 500 advertising landscape, is the biggest brands in the world that spend the most money are incredibly slow because they run on fake reports. And so they don't know how to justify the ROI of new platforms. That will continue to be the arbitrage until that world changes, and I don't see that changing very quickly. And so that's where a lot of opportunity for all of us continues to be, and so those are some of the nuances I expect. Spotify's biddable product where you can just literally record on your memos a radio ad and place it on Spotify's free product is a crazy underpriced attention execution at scale. Influencers can be a crazy place where you waste money, but it can be the greatest place to buy underpriced. Even traditional mediums, outdoor billboards, when you don't buy them on contract, you buy them remnant when they're available for 2 months in between 2 contracts, are a remarkable arbitrage on getting attention for what you want versus what you pay for. So, I think the more this room can think about day trading attention, that this is not a set it and forget it, this is not it's the way it is. It's a constant moving variable. I think that can service people well because at the end of the day, regardless of what anyone is doing in this room, the one thing I'm sure of that connects everyone is you're trying to find mediums to let people know about it so they do the thing you want them to do. Whether you throw a conference, whether you make videos, like the punchline of everything is nothing that anyone here wants to accomplish is achievable without other people knowing about it and acting on it. And so to me, what was clear 15 years ago was technology was going to commoditize a whole lot of things except the ability to be a contemporary communicator, and that whomever was best at being a contemporary communicator at scale would have a lot of leverage. And that's why I've been eating for 13 years building an agency, because it's really just a front for what I'm up to, which is world domination.
What is something worth not investing in?
Well, I think the thing I'm talking about is being great at communicating today. I think what's very obvious in my corporate world is that people are obsessed with yesterday. They still want to do a television ad as if anyone on earth watches them. And by the way, just to give you context, $80 billion worth of media being bought for television, network, and cable ads, let alone the money that's being spent on making the ads. I think the place this kind of room gets kicked up on is why last year in the hype of NFTs and the things that were happening, the place where I was trying to stop a lot of friends from going to was the metaverse because the humans weren't there. This room, this energy, this DNA doesn't get caught up on believing in yesterday. It is believing in tomorrow too soon. So the place not to invest in is we are aware that these technologies are in place, but pay attention to what the consumer's actually doing versus what you'd like them to do because you wrote a check, which is just a killer. And I appreciate the reaction from several of you. The place that is just so obvious to me is like, you wrote a check and now you want it to be true. It's much better to be thoughtful before you write the check if it is true. And I think when you list the things that I've invested in, I became a worse investor over time. In the beginning, when I was writing checks, all I was doing was based on like, oh, this is happening now, and like people don't see it. And then over time, you make a bunch of good investments, you get fancy and you think you're good at something. And I had to recalibrate back, and now I try to, if I'm writing a check, it's like, it's actually happening. Not, it might happen, it could happen. And so, you know, people are gonna get caught on VR being too early. People are gonna get caught on a lot of things. The other thing is people get caught up in headlines and they're not actually educated in the craft. I am uncomfortably bullish on, I think of AI like oxygen. It's done, it's a foregone conclusion. And I'm putting in a ton of work to understand it, but I've been very patient in writing checks because it's no different than when I was bullish on social networks when I saw the MySpace thing. I don't know if a lot of you, well, I mean, looking at the crowd and knowing some faces here, you'll remember, it wasn't MySpace and Facebook. It was MySpace, Facebook, Orkut in Brazil. It was High Five. It was Tag World. We had niche social networks. Everybody remember Dogster? We needed a social network for our dogs. Like, you know, and so what's gonna happen right now is over the next 24 months, the enormous amount of checks and money and time and energy people are gonna put into AI companies where the decision maker, A, doesn't even understand the technology as well as they'd like to think, and B, doesn't realize that almost all of them are commoditized, and that the people that are actually gonna win are gonna be far more based on the operators that drive the car than the car that they're building. And so I would say that people need to be very thoughtful during this next half decade because there's a lot of new, really substantial technologies, but just because it's happening doesn't mean it's gonna work out. It's similar to why in the height last year of NFTs, I started going completely the other way and making videos saying 99% of these things are going to zero. The macro of an NFT is right, but the individual projects weren't.